It's the season for getting spooky, and what's more terrifying than the exploitation of labor? Have you ever worked a soulless job, one that siphons the light out of your very body like a collapsing star, leaving you a shambling, barely recognizable husk? Sure, there are some features reminiscent of who you once were, but you don't really recognize the person looking back at you in the mirror anymore. It's like some weird copy, some poor imitation. You fill your free time with whatever your tired body lets you do, but you can't remember the last time that you were genuinely happy. You think about that summer you spent with your best friends, laughing late at night in empty parking lots, no worries, no responsibilities. You yearn to feel anything these days, but the idea of being stuck in an endless cycle of work with no respite can only muster a dull numbness. Where was I? It wasn't on my 2023 bingo card that a zombie anime would somehow capture the existential dread of working a soul-crushing job in a capitalist hellscape, but here we are. We interrupt this program for a special viewer discretion. The workplaces mentioned throughout this video are past companies I've worked for. If I am currently employed by you, I promise that I love my job. I need my job. Please don't take it away from me. Have you seen the price of groceries? Frankly, I'll be ruined. Thank you. We now return to your scheduled programming. Psalm 100 Bucket List of the Dead follows protagonist Akira, a starry-eyed college graduate starting what he thinks is his dream job, working in an office for a large advertising corporation. Who am I to judge a dream job? It's quickly revealed that he's actually entered a toxic, exploitative workplace, one where coworkers brag about how much unpaid overtime they've done until they mysteriously stop showing up to work. I'm sure they're just taking a well-deserved mental health break. In the beginning, Akira tries to rationalize the exploitation. He puts a positive spin on the things happening around him. The floor lead who screams at his coworkers is just an impassioned mentor whose words bring employees to tears. The drinks from the office vending machine they have in place of actual meals is because snacks and junk food are bad for you, and they're just being health conscious. Trying to outwork your peers until you eventually pass out at your desk is just good old-fashioned friendly competition between coworkers. You know, normal workplace behavior. It continues that way for 3 years. As Akira continues to spiral downwards, the color is literally taken from the world around him. He loses his social life, he stops taking care of himself, and his apartment, which only serves as a bed he occasionally sleeps in when he's not pulling an all-nighter at the office, looks more like the Pacific trash patch than an actual place where someone lives. It eventually gets to the point where he feels like there's only one way out of his circumstances, and YouTube would nuke any chance of this video hitting the algorithm if I talk about it at all. There's one particular scene where Akira is on a call with a client who informs him that the CEO promised his grandkid a role in a commercial that's already been shot. He has no choice but to try and find a way to reshoot it despite already being on a shoestring budget. I used to work at a digital agency where many of our clients were the CEO's friends, and he would constantly blow up scope on our projects as favors to his buddies, forcing the engineering teams to come into the office on weekends for unpaid overtime in order to deliver on this extra work. In fact, the number of parallels between that agency and the one portrayed in Psalm 100 is honestly a little suspicious. My first day was just as exciting as Akira's, coming in to find my desk covered in welcome gifts, sharing beers with my new coworkers, and being welcomed to the tribe. On my third day at the company, 15% of the engineering team was let go for underperformance. The CEO informed us that this was healthy and an important part of maturing as a company. Shortly afterwards, he was on a yacht in Miami for 2 weeks. Also, a little bit of a pro tip: if a company refers to themselves as a family or a tribe, they just want you to create an emotional attachment to the company so they can squeeze every last drop of productivity out of you like rolling up the end of an empty tube of toothpaste. They had catered breakfast every day though, so honestly, kinda worth it. Over time, Akira becomes stripped of all agency. All he knows is work, and he's basically stuck on autopilot. He's become a mindless drone, or what's another word for it?
Any zombies out there? Don't say that. What? That? What? That? The Z word. Don't say it. Why not? Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a heavy-handed metaphor, but that doesn't mean it isn't effective. And then the zombie apocalypse actually happens. Psalm 100 pays homage to the genre by hitting the familiar tropes, catching quick snippets of reports of an outbreak while flipping through TV channels, the long, drawn-out creep up from behind for the first zombie reveal, the farting. Actually, I don't know what's going on with that last one. By the way, are we back on zombies? Are they cool again? I know The Walking Dead overstayed its welcome like that one friend at the end of a get-together, but I think it's been long enough without a game or a spin-off that maybe we aren't completely burnt out on the genre anymore. Hey, wait, what the hell are you? This is the point where Psalm 100 flips the formula on its head. While the apocalypse is still a catalyst for a story about survival and the human condition, it's not about the world ending, but rather new beginnings. Upon realizing that he never has to work for this company again, Akira suddenly has an insurmountable insurmountable weight lifted from his shoulders. His job was so crippling that the literal end of the world feels like paradise. He bookmarks this by resigning to his boss, who is now a disgusting, bloated, vomiting zombie in person, finishing his resignation by rugby tackling them through the window of a high-rise apartment. But that's fine because he's a zombie, so there's no moral quandaries for murdering your boss. Probably. With his last tether to the corporate world that chewed him up and spit him out in a perpetual chew spit cycle finally broken, Akira is free for the first time in 3 years. The circumstances probably could have been a bit better, but hey, an out is an out. After giving up 3 years of his life to an exploitative company, Akira comes up with a list of things he wants to do before he inevitably becomes a zombie himself. Hence, bucket list of the dead. See, it's all coming together. Some of these are simple things like wasting a day drinking beer. Some are a little more difficult, like realizing your childhood dream. My bucket list includes you subscribing to this channel. I assume you just subscribed, so thank you. The first episode of this series is a perfect self-contained story about the exploitative side of capitalism and finding freedom from societal expectations. There's some incredible imagery. Upon the realization he's free from his job, the screen transitions to a white void as Akira disappears, leaving just his work clothes, the uniform of his oppression, to float slowly to the ground. As the sole of his shoe gently touches the floor, it snaps back to reality as the world explodes into color, the aspect ratio returning to normal for the first time since the beginning of the episode. It also helps that we get some of the most beautifully animated segments that I've seen all year. And thankfully, animators have traditionally been treated very well and have incredible working conditions. Zom 100 starts as a scathing satire of capitalism, but it turns into a story about freedom and the pursuit of your dreams. The downfall of society creates an excellent framework for characters to build a better understanding of themselves and discover what is truly important to them. Instead of looking at the world through a nihilistic lens, it instead chooses to focus on the potential of humanity and the meaning of freedom and the hilarity of full frontal male nudity. While it might not reach the peak the first episode hits, the rest of the series is still an entertaining ride, except that it's on indefinite hiatus and we might never see the final 3 episodes of the season. If you've ever been a disposable cog in the machine, working unpaid overtime for a workplace that promotes meritocracy, or found yourself a member of the tribe, then maybe you can find some catharsis from this show. And if not, I mean, there's still some fun stuff here. There's a zombie shark propelled by the legs of people it ate, so I mean, that's pretty fun. As always, thanks for watching. If you want more of whatever it is I do, well, you know what buttons to press. I ain't gonna patronize you. See you next time.